I don't know.
I think this is supposed to be the way I'm supposed to use it.
That's what she said. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Laser Source podcast, the number one podcast if you're concerned on the best way to use it. Matt's the expert in that. There's a link down in the description where you can book a session with Matt where he will explain to you the best way to use it.
Right. A lot of time people wonder, like, where do I put it? What do I do with it? Do I do it with someone else, or is it something that I should do alone?
Yeah,
And
how
what
do
we're
I
talking
handle
about
it?
is business.
Are there dangers? Are there risks?
Do I keep it away from my eyes? You know, stuff like that with business.
Something you don't want to keep away from your eyes is the website of our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're the reason we get to bring you this show every week, and we're super grateful for their sponsorship. And you should go check out what they have in stock. It is the end of the year, but that doesn't mean that you can't get things on time from them if you're trying to fill out your stock for the holiday rush. So I would encourage you to head down in the description. There's an affiliate link down there. We get to earn some money. You guys get a discount with code YLR-ZDF. That's 15% off almost everything in the store. And they've got you covered on everything from engraving blanks, materials, signage, stock. I mean, they've got literally everything. You can find them over at jpplus.com. Make sure to hit them up and pick up some stuff before the end of the year. Not too much. You don't want to be sitting with December 31st and you've got like way overstock, but because that's naughty. But if you do want to pick something up or you need something, I just placed a couple orders. I'm getting so many orders right now for LE Customs. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like a huge. We've been getting maybe a customer a week ish. I don't advertise at all, so I'm not like super busy, but in the last 4 days I've had maybe like a dozen people come by the shop. So
oh yes, I've heard from people that I haven't heard from in like a couple of months who usually order things, and they're like, hey, I've been meaning to, and I get it, they're busy too, it's their busy season and they're literally doing the same thing, but then they're like, is it too late for Christmas stuff? And I was like, you have until this Friday. And then they're like, oh god. And I'm like, yeah, so pay by Friday, not like you can place your order till it. Pay by Friday.
I had a woman come in today who brought me the like really crappy nickel plated like zinc tags you could get at like Hobby Lobby. They're like 10 in a pack or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And she wanted to get them so that her husband could use them as inlays for his like woodworking projects. So he'd like route it out and then like inset them. I thought it was a really cool idea, but the second she walked in, she was like, oh, you guys have like these? And she started looking at the coins, which I thought was like a super cool idea to use that as like a maker's mark. So she's still going to have us do the zinc ones now for Christmas just because she already bought them. I was like, why not? I'm doing them for like $3 a piece. Super inexpensive. They're going to be quick. I told her they're not going to be deep. It's not going to look like these coins because zinc's going to look like shit like that.
How deep were you going to give it to her?
So deep. The deepest.
Just deep enough, though.
All of the depth.
But only if she bought my coins, right? Which she isn't doing. She's just going to have us do the zinc ones for now. So we're going to do surface mark on those.
Right.
But then she mentioned, she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize you guys had stuff here. Like you can order things. That's so cool. And it turns out she is the like floor manager or whatever at one of our local restaurants. And now she wants to come back. Boom. And like get a bunch of gifts. They have like 60 employees or some kind of crazy shit. Like that. So she wants Christmas gifts for them. So she's going to come back too. I knew you'd like that story, Matt.
That's literally what I live for. Synergizing.
But
that's it. It's like take the extra minute to get to know your customers and talk to them. And then that's why it's cool if you have a shop to have things out where people can see them. Even if you don't have a shop, just having like a website where it's like, hey, here's some stuff. Because you'd be shocked how many times I've gotten emails from Google because straight up like I made that video like 4 years ago, where it's like getting your shop on Google. I literally don't even have my website for like the past 6 months, and people still are like, hey, I noticed your website is down, but I've seen pictures from your Google pictures. Do you still make these things? And I'm like, sure do. Here you go.
Wait, rewind. Why is your website down?
Because it was the Shopify and they raised their prices up another $10 and it wasn't. So I was getting traffic from having Shopify, but the sales going through like the actual like service of it just wasn't worth it to anymore, because at that point for like $50 for the minimal service, it was like, is it really worth it like for what I'm getting out of it. And so that's where, to me, my whole thing is I've actually got a little website that says contact me when you look at my website link now. And it's still serving its purpose. It's the free thing from and so Bunny Washer is saying Square Up is free store.
That's what we use.
Yeah, and so that's one of those things where like I'm basically just trying to pick my service come the first of the year, pretty much. Like I've just kind of said, okay, this is a wash for right now, and focusing on wrapping up the year and getting done. And then that'll be my next thing. I'll probably reach out to Andrew, right? Because I know he's already got some of my stuff stored away on his server and his services. He always does great. So that's my goal for like next year is like, okay, kind of shift the gear a little bit. So yeah, that was it. But the whole point is getting to talk to them, having those pictures where they can see them is super important.
Yeah, you should check out Square, dude. I think you would like it. I've been using it for quite a while at this point. I mean, we were using Square. I tried PayPal first. I was using PayPal here with the little like card swipers or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know you don't do in-person transactions as much, so it's not as important to you. But PayPal's deficiencies in that category are what pushed me to find Square in the first place. And I've been using it ever since. We moved over to it like right when we signed the lease on the very first shop space, and I haven't switched.
Dude, I use QuickBooks and I just send an invoice right there in person. I'm like, okay, we're doing what now? Boop, boop, boop. And I'm just like, here you go.
Do that too, but that's
you need the point of sales if you've got a shop.
Or just a web presence. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what Bunny and I are talking about, is like they give you the site like as part of using them for payment processing. And of course you can expand on that and get more features and like integrated things, but you don't need to. And you have to have at least a website, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of crazy that you don't have a website right now.
Yeah, I took it down 4 months ago. I think it might have been 5 months ago. But that's the thing. The good news is I have a lot of repeat customers and people who reach out, like I said, through Google. So with no other website, I still get emails and texts straight up from people who are just contacting me. Would I have gotten more? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. But it's one of those things where for right now, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm okay. Got the new job. It's been shifting gears.
I know, you're working enough as it is.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I've honestly, like the little extra breath I've had, I've been like, okay, I'm okay with this.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been good.
Well, not to break us off of our fun tangent, because we love fun tangents, but I just want to kind of keep us moving because I do have a lot that I want to talk to you guys about today. I came well prepared. First of all, if you're here live with us, what's up? Hi, everybody in chat. I see you all. I see the chat popping away down there. I did also see that Kyle starred a question about people wondering why we have two streams. One of them is like portrait, essentially. So it's like this new thing YouTube has that StreamYard integrates with. So there's a portrait stream that people who are swiping through shorts will see. And then there's the widescreen one that you guys are used to seeing, the Laser Source podcast air, in that kind of format. So I'm trying it out because why not? If it gets more people to find the show, I'm super stoked to have them here. So hopefully that does something for us. If it doesn't, whatever, but it didn't cost anything and it was one extra button to click. So that's why there are two streams. If you're watching on a desktop computer, definitely use the widescreen one. I think you're going to have a better experience with that. But if you watch on the phone, you might like the way that it has things set up vertically. And if so, that's there for you now. So that is the difference between the streams. But otherwise, you guys are getting the same exact content. I don't know if the chats are synced. I don't think they are, but that might be something to keep in mind. Otherwise, it shouldn't really affect you guys too much. So hopefully that helps you guys if you're watching on mobile. Also, if you are new for the first time here on the show, I'm sorry. This episode isn't as bad as usual, so maybe I'm a little less sorry than usual, but, go listen to the other episodes. I think you'll have a fun time.
Hey, yeah, if we don't let you down today, check us out in the past. We'll definitely will.
Before we dig our heels in and get to today's topic, Matt, would you like to run us through our live visitors today?
Oh my goodness, we got so many. By the way, the question was just asked, who was first? And Cubing Cracked, aka Bronson with the Monson, is first. We got Laura, who is second. She got in there a little bit later. Lisa, I Love Creations, if you don't know her. Lara. You got Cheryl over at Resin Dragon Studios. What's up, Cheryl? Jack in the Shop. Mike C is back. My goodness, we got Richie here. Said sorry I'm late tonight, but I think we started right when you got here, so
we're late, bro.
You got Bunny Washer. John Upstring is back. What's up, John?
What up,
Directed
John?
Tech. What's going on, sir? Let's see. My goodness, trying to catch them all in here. It's like Pokemon. Everybody's popping off. We got Albro Swift AF. M. DeMarco. What's going on, DeMarco? And then, by the way, I was definitely checking out people's roast beef this week.
Bro, roast beef is popping. We'll touch on that today.
Somebody's popping their roast beef. Anyways, practically accurate. What's going on?
I'm so glad that M. DeMarco's here tonight because Rhiannon took a job today from somebody with the last name DeMarco. And she was like, why does that sound so familiar? And I was like, I don't know. Like, it was driving us both nuts. We couldn't put our finger on it. It's from the podcast. It's from editing the podcast.
You should have put your finger on the roast beef because they've got some really interesting stuff. No?
No.
Okay. I was just trying to get it in there.
Nope.
BetaFax is here. What's up, BetaFax?
What up?
E2 Laser, ELC Creations. That guy's handsome.
That guy sucks.
I
They made him choke.
Sorry. It just
Got
we got Anthony, Resin, and that's everybody.
Yeah. Hi, welcome. Great. Glad that you guys are here. With the infrequent sponsorship exception, like Johnson Plastics Plus, bringing you tonight's podcast episode, we're 100% viewer funded. So that's like 95% or more of our revenue is thanks to viewers and listeners like you guys. And we wouldn't be able to do this show without you. So if you want to help support us, head over to the Laser Master Academy. It's the #1 way to support the show. You can find out more about that over at masters.lasereverything.net. Big, vibrant community. Tons of people over there that are looking for help, that you might be able to help them, and they're dishing out the help. We have so many longtime members over there that are sharing their experience and getting people going. It's really a great place to get started. There's also a bunch of content coming exclusively to the LMA soon. The way that YouTube has been handling our videos lately, it just doesn't make sense to post a lot of our long form content, our deep dive stuff, our in-depth tutorials. It's not really making sense to post that to YouTube anymore. YouTube is only promoting our shorts. So I'm moving big series like the Ultimate Guide to Laser Processing over to the LMA for people that are paying subscribers exclusively, because that kind of content is easier to make when there's an engine and a community behind it that's funding it to be created. So if you're looking for that kind of content going forward, make sure to check out the LMA. But if you're not into that kind of stuff, you just want to help support it, or you just like the podcast, you can also support us over on Patreon and Coffee as well. And there's links to all of those down in the description. So if you've learned something from us, consider joining, because your support helps keep the lasers on. Also, a reminder to throw your questions into chat, guys. We're talking about laser safety today and some mistakes to be weary about throughout the holiday season as we kind of push our way through the end of Q4. And so if you have any input on that, questions about that, or things to watch out for that you might think might be a concern for other people, make sure you drop those in the comments. Kyle's scanning it as we go to make sure that we don't miss any of them, and we'll swing back around to those during the second half of the show. Community Spotlight. I'm scrolling through. I got show notes now, and show notes make the show sound so much better, even if there's pauses while I have to read it. I'm super stoked on it.
I'm just excited you're reading.
I know how to read. I've read things before. Okay.
I mean, you definitely have looked at them, so that's solid.
You know, I cite words. that's how I live my life.
There's so many.
I know. The deadline has been extended. Matt brought this up earlier. Final submissions for roast beef are due before the December 23rd live episode. So if you want to make absolutely sure that we see it before we record that live episode next Tuesday, I'd say the hard deadline is right around Sunday, December 21st, which will give us 1 to 2 days to make sure that we get to look at everybody's before the show. We don't want to show up like completely blind. I want to make sure that we, have a fair look at them. The Discord has blown up with entries since the last episode. Last episode, there were maybe 10, and I think there's 30 now. I mean, you guys have really been submitting them, and I'm stoked about that. If you want to submit them on the LMA, you can do that there as well. If you click on updates in the main menu bar, there's a post where you can submit your roast beef. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're roasting your laser setups. I want to see everything, the messy, the dirty, the multi-use, or maybe like the super good setup. You know, there are a few in there that, like, I saw somebody comment on the Discord the other day. They were like, there's nothing to roast in this picture. So if you've got a super primo setup, we want to see that too. That's next week, guys. Are you stoked? I'm kind of stoked. I'm like,
all I know is at M DeMarco at 9:16 p.m. today said my beef is roasty.
Nice.
Like that's been in my head for a little bit.
Good. So make sure either on the LMA, like I said, in the updates channel, if you are looking for that post, or on the Discord server in the roast beef channel, you guys can post your laser setups, your workspace. Give us some details. Let us know what your favorite laser is, or why you have things organized a certain way. Whatever brings a little personality to your laser setup, because the whole episode next week is going to be dedicated to roasting and maybe advising or appreciating your laser setups. And I'm really excited to do this.
I'm really excited to just be like, so how did you do that one thing in this picture? Because like I would like this one thing.
Yeah. I'm stoked about it. So if
you haven't seen Disonian's actuator, like he's got have you seen that, by the way?
Which post was the one that had just like there's just a truck on like a lift in the background? That one was really funny.
Oh my god, let me go look. Oh, by the way,
you're posting setups right now. We're doing this next week.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, sorry. Okay, never mind. I see the one you're talking about though. There it is. Yeah. That's EI Gregor, and he just said
that's right.
He said I just put where did he saying? He said I posted pictures of my roast beef.
He's here in chat.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, God. Roast beef means laser setups. Yes, indeed. I think that they will get to. If you're thinking about taking a nudie shot and posting it, you will realize that you are in the wrong when you show up to the roast beef channel, and that is not what's.
But what if lasers are in the background? Never mind.
You know, I don't know. I just work here.
This ain't that kind of stream, Matt.
I can't wait to roast them with you guys on the 23rd. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Try to get your submissions into me as soon as humanly possible. Let's move on from this and talk about these top mistakes that people make in the holiday season. So I did a little preparation before the show. I know John Uftring is really excited that I did some preparation. I see that in chat. So thanks, Sean. I have 3 major categories. The guys can see this. You guys can't.
I can't see it, by the way. People were saying that this is new, like this is weird, this is different. You should see it on our end, like you being prepared. And I mean, on time, within 5 minutes. I'm like,
I know
it's the new meds. They're popping.
It's not. On the new meds for so. There's nothing. Just trying to make the show a little better. I have 3. It sucks so much. I just want it to be like decent. I have 3 major categories. The categories are as follows. The just one more will bite you, and why. We'll talk about that. The don't touch holidays. Not don't touch holidays. It's don't touch ! Holidays. That's how it's written.
I love how you just said, I really thought about the notes. I want the show to be good. All right, guys, roast beef is popping. Now let's talk about the don't touch anymore.
And running, tired, and rushing decisions. All right, and each of these have sub points. We'll kind of work through them. Guys, feel free to interrupt me if you have thoughts on these, but this is just what I came up with beforehand. So the first category, just one more will bite you. Okay, so this is when you are like, I'm at my limit, or I'm in the middle of something really important, and you're like, just one more job won't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say no to this. I'm gonna take one more. It's just one more. It's just one more little job.
I want to add to that too, where like you've hit the limit for the day of what you should have done. Like you're exhausted. You just ran that like 50-piece thing, and then you're like, that one job is sitting there that's there for tomorrow. It's just the cutting board. It's just the cutting. Let me just do this.
Do one more.
And then that's when you mess it up, dude, because you misspell something, you mistype something, you didn't do the check. It's like just one more.
So that's like that's the third category. That's running tired and rushing decisions. So we'll get to that. Decisions.
Maybe
rushing decisions. So the first one, guys, when you take too many jobs, right? I think a big thing, and probably the number one thing that's all on our minds right now when we talk about this kind of BS, leaving lasers unattended, right? Because if you are, I feel like you're way more likely to do that if you've taken on too much work, you know, and you're like trying to multitask or like do multiple things instead of just focusing on the work, or like splitting your attention between things. And I put in quotes here, even just for a minute.
Oh yeah.
I know we've seen posts of people with burnout shops and lasers because they left their lasers just for a minute. I know we've seen it.
I would argue that shops getting burned down, like if you were to map it out across a calendar, the majority of them happen just before the holidays.
Sure.
Or during the holidays.
I have no problem believing that.
Usually, yeah.
People want to run jobs and run the machines to their limit, but they don't realize that they also have a limit to running it responsibly, and they walk away. And now you have an unattended machine that lights something on fire, and then you wake up to the fire department calling you or banging on your door because your garage just burned down, right?
Next thing you know, you're on OnlyFans or what's the other one where they GoFundMe, one or the other. You know what I mean?
It's basically the same thing.
It's basically the same thing.
By the way, I like how Miranda straight up just said, "Who was here when Jimmy set his laser on fire live?"
That was the best day of my life.
If I could raise my hand, mine would be up.
Yep.
So yeah, I think you're a lot more willing to do that. Not even likely to do that. I'm saying willing. You're much more willing to do that when you have too much to do, when you've taken on too much work.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a willingness thing. Nobody's like, oops, I left my laser unattended. Like you're making a choice to do that.
Yeah. And Practically Accurate said multiple major companies show accidents increase around the 10-hour mark. So you just kind of have to call it a day. The other thing too is kind of being overconfident with the machines that you're not familiar with that you're using, or having somebody be like, you know what, all you got to do is just switch this out. That's all you got to do. So just sit here and do these 10 things for me. And you walk away, or you're doing something else, and the person who doesn't know exactly, because like the emergency stop, I know how to operate that, but that's not something that you tell someone when you just say, hey, you know what, just switch this out when it's done with that job. And so them not knowing it, boom, instant mess up, right? Fire. So there's so many things.
A big thing that ties into this, which is our second point here, is overcommitting lead times to please customers or to please yourself, which I didn't write, but you know, whether you're trying to make people happy to get a job to like lock in the sale, or you're just maybe, it sounds mean, but like being greedy, you know, and trying to just
hard when you're
extra cash.
Dude, it's hard to turn $500 down. I mean, $50 sometimes, you know, where it's just because it's just that easy thing. 100%.
Yeah, especially if it's something repeatable. But if you're overcommitting lead times, even if you have the time, right? We're not even talking about a situation where it's like 3 days before Christmas or whatever, right? I'm saying you got the time, but you're promising even less than that because you feel like you're going to lose the sale if you don't. That's something I'm really bad at. I'm always really bad at that. People come in and they're like, how long is it going to take? First words out of my mouth, I don't even think about it. I'm like 2 to 3 days, just everything blanket. They could have like 600 tumblers. I'm like 2 to 3 days. It's something that I've like really had to. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like I've really had to like practice drawing those out further, even if we're not busy, giving myself like more time, even if it's not what I think they want to hear.
So it's just the hubris, like Kyle said. And the other part of this too is like, flip the script, dude. Like there's a lot of times that say how long, like what's your lead time? Just say, well, when do you need it by? And by just asking them that, like this just literally happened this week. There was a guy who was asking me for price on stuff. He was asking me, like, we're doing all this design stuff. And I said, well, real quick, when do you need this by? And he was like, well, I do, because he wanted like 40 coins. And I'm like, okay. I said, those are very time intensive, you know, blah, 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 design. And then it ended up that he needed it by like January 7th. And I just went, oh, yeah, nope, I'm not your guy anymore. Sorry. I said, I literally don't have time for that. And if you didn't ask that, and then you got I would have spent probably another half an hour working up the design, you know, so it's like having that question ahead of time can just save you time now and then a bunch of headaches later.
Yeah. And So I want to know, and Matt, you've kind of had a system for this, so I want you to talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Don't tailspin on me into like a fucking rabbit hole.
I
But-
have new meds, by the way, John Uftring. Who wants to say
But-
long story short?
but-
I know I take new meds. Go for it.
Yeah,
Me
rein in
too.
the ADHD here a little bit for a second. But
I did.
could you please talk to people about how to build a safe buffer time into holiday schedules? Right? How do you handle that? Because I think out of the three of us, you're the one that has faced the biggest challenge with that, and you've got a pretty good system for dealing with it.
Yeah, so I mean, it varies depending on the activity, right? The holiday and all that kind of stuff and the time that you have around it. But basically, one of the things that you should really consider, like I said, is your lead time can be dependent on the holiday itself, shipping. There's so many other factors that you have to figure out. So to me, and by the way, if I skip over what it is you wanted me to talk about, make sure you draw me back to it. But it's one of those things where to me, I always like to make sure that number one, I have a set date of when I'm done, right? So that's something that matters to me. As far as lead time goes, usually like I've just told people 7 to 10 days on things because I know it's going to take 1 day to get pricing. I can usually get back to them the same day with pricing. And that kind of curtails a lot of jobs too, because my price is what I think it's worth for me. And then the other thing is after that, it's going to take at least 1 to 2 days, depending on where I'm getting those items from to ship it. And then now that gives me a solid 7 days to get stuff done if it's something that needs doing in that amount of time. If you don't think you can get it done and or the other thing is just doing math, right? I know that I work from about 8 in the morning till about 5 at night. I have to be dad. I have to do this. So from 8 to midnight, how many of those can I get done responsibly and well? And then take that math and figure out how many days you need to do it. And don't forget packing time and shipping time and getting everything to the actual facility where you're going to ship it from, or are you going to have UPS come and grab it from your house, right?
The thing I was leading to that you hit was like the done day where you're just like finished. And that's something that's always inspired me, but I've never followed up on that. So what is your day this year? What did you pick?
This year it's this Friday. So you have to have paid for the order by this Friday. And the only thing I'm taking is because I mean, if I have it here, I'm not taking anything that you bring me from that day, just so you know, because I don't have time on Saturday and Sunday, because this is it, dude. Go time is next week for Christmas. So basically wrapping family events and all that kind of stuff. So it needs to be something that I've already purchased or that I have here that I know the settings for and I can knock out for you. And then I let people know that. I said, if you want to come back to me and let me know by the end of the day, that'd be great. I can shoot you an invoice and we're good to go. So, and pretty much, I mean, no one has ever upset about it. They're just like, all right, thanks. And I either hear from them or I don't. And they still call me the next year and for all the other stuff they need all year. So
I'm at the shop on December 23rd. And I'm like, if somebody comes in and they're like, can I get this same day? I'm like, yeah. And I do it.
Well, and that's the thing. If I'm off, teacher Matt is off. My wife is off. The kids are off. So we're off doing things with family and stuff like that. And the 2 or 3 years where I didn't have that day, it was just what are you doing right now? It was a very bad conversation to have with a wife who is just what are you doing right now? Doing 50 tumblers. And I was like, I love you, So it's one of those things where it's just knowing what's the return for you. For me, it wasn't worth the hassle of having an upset family and people having to wait on me and all that stuff. And then the other thing is when you get all of that stuff done, shipping's not happening on that day. So guess who's taking that to those people? Yeah. They're not coming to grab. So it's one of those things. So it's a whole thing. So just make sure you know what you want to do.
What about the situation where you end up underestimating setup time for custom orders? Do you guys find yourself in that situation a lot? Where you are like, oh, this will be easy. And then you get to it and it's in front of you on the laser. And you're like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. I did not think this through. I can think of multiple times where that's been the case for me. I'm doing a job right now where that's the case for me. I posted on the Discord yesterday. Some lady brought in, she's like, I need this tumbler and I need it, in 2 days or whatever. And I was like, no problem. And then I got the art after I gave the lead time, and it's just a mess. I mean, it's so bad. You guys can see it if you want to look at it. It's in random chat over on the Discord server. You just scroll up a little bit. It's right there. Dude, it's so bad. And like I'm going through with the pen tool in Inkscape and I'm trying to like redraw these lines and fill out areas and get like sneaky vector traces on like pieces of it that I can use to rebuild the whole thing. It's the worst.
Are
It's the
you
worst.
charging for design time?
I did not do it. I've underestimated that the time that I would spend on that. You know what I mean? I glanced at it when she showed me the art. I glanced at it and I was like, looks good. Dope.
The thing that
Ugh.
stops me from running face first into that usually is I won't quote a time or a price until I know what the item is and know what the art is.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have both of them together or I'm not giving them any information back.
Yeah.
I'll give them like an estimate, but I'm not going to give them like this is without knowing the full picture kind of thing. Because I could be like, it'll take two days, but like if the art is horrible and it takes me 4 hours to rework, you're going to suffer through that with me.
I might be like a sociopath, but also I feel like you too, more so Kyle, but Matt too. You guys have more of like an air gap between you and your customers when you're figuring things out where you can like email back and forth or message back and forth. And I feel like a lot of times I'm in a situation where I'm at the shop and people come in and they're like right there in my face and I just like freak out because I can't be around them and I want them to leave. So I'm like, just email me your art. Just email it to me. I'll get it. It's fine.
So I literally just had to have this conversation with the coin person who I was telling you about. So I said, hey, they said, how much could you do for coins if you're doing like 40 to 60 of them? And I said, well, if it's simple, it could be $15 for the work, you know, two-sided where it's like a simple engrave, or it could go up to like $30 depending what we're looking at in runtime. I said, and it could even be more than that because I had an idea of what they were trying to do. Then they shot me artwork and I said, so really quick, let's just go ahead and discuss that. Like I was starting to realize like, okay, this will be complicated. So I said, this is going to be, for me, I have to take what you have and turn it into something that I can use. I said, it's going to take me probably an hour. I said, that's going to be $60 just for the artwork. And the person, and it was on Discord. So yes, there is that gap of time, but it's one of those things where, you can say, hey, just so you know, and this is where one of the people just said a minute ago, have a form, like maybe have a question form. And a second question is when you need it by. And the third thing is artwork. So like having a form really is a great tool because it's a checklist. And so it's like, okay, how many are you looking to do? Great. What is your budget? And like, I always tell people, like, I think people think that everybody's out to try to just get one over on them. And maybe a lot of people are, I mean, I guess. But when I say, what's your budget?
That's why we do the show, you know, confuse them and pull the wool over their eyes. Yeah.
But the reason I say what's your budget is because then I can say, okay, well, here's like a lower grade thing that you could do. Or here's something that is a higher grade item that we can use for the blanks, you know, for example, especially with coins, right? Like there's stuff that we can get that's 32 millimeters wide and they're cheap. They're American made. They're great quality. Or I can get something that's 40 millimeters wide or like even bigger. And then we can kind of go from there. So having those questions to ask them, and then the artwork, do you have it as a SVG? Is it a PNG? Because that's exactly what Kyle said too, where I've had somebody send a picture of like a logo that was on a polo. How am I supposed, what am I doing with that?
Like
embroidered?
Yeah. So I said, do you have a picture of the logo? They're like, yes. And they were like, then they sent me a picture of a t-shirt that they had somebody hold with their hands to get like a good picture of it, you know? And I was like, great. I said, now I need the SVG of that. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, find your art department, talk to them. And I had to guide them through that whole discussion. Or they just rename it to JPEG and SVG, right? Yeah, it's brutal. So that's one of those things where knowing that kind of stuff in the moment, that's how you can put it on them because it really is their project. You're just facilitating it, getting it done. And then the nice thing is you can say, hey, until you get that done, as soon as you send it over from that day, it's going to take 7 to 10 days. And I think having like Michael, that's what I was going to bring up is Michael from Laser Engraving 911, who's been on the show a few times. He's told people, he said, my time is 10. I usually tell them 10 to 14 days. He said, I can get it, you know, I can always get it done faster. But by giving them that gap on a lot of times like that, like those one-off jobs or those like smaller things, it lets people know just a basic time frame, you know. That's like the shop right now. So and it kind of gives you that time to, I guess that is your air gap. You can always get back to them and say, hey, we ran into a situation. Here's what's going on. Are you okay with this? If not, I've got it here for you. Sorry that we wasted time.
I do. It's just awkward and gross because I have to interact with them and I don't like doing that.
Yeah, but the other thing is, hey, I burned your cup, or hey, I had to buy 2 more cups because I burned your first one. Which, by the way, I've had those conversations too. So, and with people who I know. So, there's a lot of good stuff in chat, by the way. I think Kyle's been starring it up.
Yeah, I want to keep going so we can get through the list. We've got 2 more sections to do, but we will swing around and catch up with chat too. To put a bow on this one, I think there's a difference between being busy and being profitable. Right. And if you make yourself too busy, you're going to hurt your bottom line more than you're going to gain from it by taking on too much work. So these are things that you should be looking out for in that realm. But there is another realm. The next one I labeled don't touch holidays. That one is really more about things that you should not be doing during the holidays. I listed a couple examples here. If you guys have more examples, we can talk about them. But I put forgetting backups before doing software updates. If you guys aren't using the Lightburn like bundle feature, I don't know, you're insane. It's so useful and so easy. It takes 2 seconds to export a Lightburn bundle, and I do it like every time I make a change on my machine. So do those, but also don't be doing shit like that in the holidays. You know what I mean? Don't like up you. This is not the time to be like, I think I'm going to give 2.0 a try. You know, like I wouldn't start going in and messing with that kind of stuff. Firmware
is fix everything.
Yeah, firmware. Don't like update your firmware for like your diode laser right now. That's not a good idea. So things like that. Maybe like oh, I'm going to order a new tube. I think I'm going to upgrade to like an 80-watt tube, you know, from my 60-watt. Like maybe wait until January for that. I don't know if I'd start rooting around in that right now.
That's when you figure out how to put in a new tube and it's fun.
Dude, Murphy's Law is going to get you on that. So you have to maybe put those off until later. It's a small category, but what do you guys think about that?
I 100% agree.
Good.
I would say that I wouldn't even just do it with backups. I just wouldn't do it this time of year because even with backups, you're risking downtime, troubleshooting, all this stuff that you can avoid in your productive day that can just be put toward getting your work done. Yeah. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have 400 things to do between now and next week, cool, get your work done and then mess around. But it's like, why are you rolling the dice on having a problem and potentially risking ruining other people's weeks and putting that on your business, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Not time for it. So don't touch nothing, as Jimmy would say. Wait until January. Then you can start touching things because it's going to get real slow.
You do your maintenance.
Alternate idea. Mm-hmm. So for me, I actually bought the computer that's running all of the machines now right about this time of year. But what I did was I left the old machine, like the old computer that was just my little Lenovo, you know, like the little desktops and everyone. That was running everything. And then what I did was I unplugged one laser and I plugged it in over here to see how it would work and what, like the one that was being used the least. And I'm like, okay, is everything working? Is Lightburn going? All of these were still functional. And all I had to do is just unplug the USB to plug it in over there again if it wasn't working right. Then as I started getting everything going, it was like, okay, this can run 2 lasers at one time. This can like have some kind of a system in place if you're going to do it where you can still operate on the old system so that it's like tangential.
I say don't do it. I think that's silly.
I like to live dangerously.
Just wait a couple weeks. It's coming up. Then you can play with your new computer. No, it's almost time. You can get Lightburn pre-installed. Like, just leave it alone.
I did. All of it was ready to go. And sometimes when it's ready to go, it's not.
You have to. I wouldn't even be unplugging USB cables from lasers, honestly, because sometimes, dude, we get those messages on the LMA. I know Kyle knows what I'm talking about, where you're running a job 1 minute, then you unplug it and go take a shit, and you come back and plug it back in, and Lightburn's not seeing your laser.
Twice today. twice
Shit like
today.
that. Shit like that happens.
Are you talking about the shit that you took or the shit that happened on the computer?
Both
Oh,
shits
both
occur.
shit do happen like that.
Mostly the
Yeah.
latter.
If you're
do
not
be like
prepared,
that.
and like Bunny Washer said, YOLO.
Yeah, I mean YOLO, change it all. That's a take. That's a hot take.
Unplug everything, switch the wires, and plug it
I
back
love
in.
how I said the opposite of that, and somehow you guys still made it back to light your shit on fire, and then you just flush it all down the tube. Your business, your life, your wife leaves you, your dog gets hit by a car. That's basically.
I know. It's just I wake up and I'm Tom Wick. You know, Tom Wick.
Tom Wick.
Yeah, because I'm not John Wick. That would be too cool. I'm Tom Wick.
His awkward cousin.
It's like the sad version.
Yeah, his socially awkward cousin. John's like,
Yeah.
I need your help. Bleh.
Listen,
Here's a pencil.
here's some advice that I know I'm qualified to give because we do it every Tuesday night at 9:00, and that is running tired and rushing decisions. That's our third category. Okay. This has a lot of great examples. This is the biggest one. I saved it for last because it's the one I feel most passionately about. It's the one I feel most passionately about. I'm tired. I can't even speak.
I'm passionate.
Listen, don't do this thing that I do all the time that never works.
Drugs.
Trusting heroin. Trusting last year's settings on new stock. Don't ever do that. That's so dumb. You're
Always
rushing.
have a tester.
When you do that, you're rushing. Okay, do a test. Do a millimeter square. Do anything. I call them. I don't know if you guys remember. I haven't said this in forever, but you guys have been here long enough to know. I called them cereal box marks. But you get the little ink test on the inside of the cereal box. Do something. Like make sure your shit still works. I don't know how to convince people of this to do this over and over again. I know it defeats the purpose of having a settings library, but if you have a settings library and you do a cereal box test and it does still work, then it still works and there's no extra work. Like it took a minute, like just do it.
Yeah, and the other thing too is from case to case of items. Like,
yeah, totally,
dude. There is some stuff where I have gotten a case that was very
that
old,
teal leatherette or whatever it was.
Oof, do you remember that one? Jesus,
Yeah.
Like the teal leatherette, and it's one of those things where teal just doesn't absorb the same way because of the spectrum of light, right? And it was literally like nailing one perfect, and then the next one. I mean, I even built a jig that literally made sure that they were flat as could be. And it didn't matter. There was like some kind of a coating, like that was like a lacquer or something on one of them. And that whole box I had to do on the CO2, but I went through because I had put them on a jig that did like, I think it was 6 of them at a time. 6 of them got roasted and the order was due like 2 days later. Like I put myself in a situation because of just that. So luckily I knew how to do it on the CO2. I flipped over the one that was already messed up, figured it out, but it's one of those things where it's like, oof.
Yeah, a big one, I think a very, very common trap that people learn the hard way very regularly, tumblers. Dude, tumblers are not powder coated consistently. Some brands are better than others, but man, they vary. Even in the same box. You know what I mean? Like if you get a box set, you got like the 30 case or whatever. The powder coat can vary from one to the next. And obviously you can't test on every single tumbler. I'm not saying that you should, but you have to be aware of variances and tolerances in stock. And doing it from 1 week to the next is one thing, but over the course of a year, like if you haven't done something since last Christmas or last holiday season or whatever, maybe give those settings a little test run before you charge forward, which is directly related to switching materials without retesting settings. So a big place where I get caught up in this is like when I'm doing knives, right? And the knives have wooden handles and steel blades, and I'm doing an engraving on both. And I'm just like not making sure that I'm using the wood setting before I move from the blade to the wood handle or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even a better example, like the buck knives, how you have the steel blade, but then like the brass like chunk on it, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like the PC. Yeah. And you don't check, you don't switch, you don't test. And that is a big problem. So what I've been trying to do is like do all the steel blades first, even if it's convenient to just shift it over and do the little brass part next. I don't swap back and forth. I do the test, I make sure the steel is good. Then I do the test for brass, and then I do all the brass. That way I know exactly what I'm going to get. So that's another one where when you're tired and you're just rushing things, it's something that you just don't think about.
Do you see Jack?
No, what did Jack say?
I had an order of 12 tunnel this week, and on 8 of them, I engraved the wrong date.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oof.
That's
yeah.
I the other day I ran a job on the CO2 gantry, and I was cutting something out of that that 1/4-inch backer board that I make fixtures out of.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go engrave like a cutting board, and I still had my cut settings. I hit it with like 95% power at like 10 millimeters a second.
Dude, I do that so much. I hate
and I
that
basically
you're saying this.
blew through like almost a 1-inch cutting board with like 20 psi of air.
Yeah. Speaking of air, Kyle, you might want to talk about this one because I know you care about this. Ignoring airflow, exhaust, or air assist to save time. You ever do that when you're like in a super big rush and you're like, fuck it, I don't need, air assist on this one. I'm not going to fill the compressor right now. I'm just going to run it.
Never.
Why?
Never.
So if you're used to running something with an air assist and you just suddenly don't, you're changing the cut characteristics, you're changing your quality of your end result, and you're probably shooting yourself in the foot all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is this time of year in particular, especially after like Black Friday and Thanksgiving time, a lot of people get their new lasers and they want to play with it, but they don't want to set up an exhaust, or they don't realize they need to order exhaust stuff and set it up before they run the laser. So now they order stuff, but the laser has to sit there for a week or two while they set it up over the holidays. Oh, well, I'll just run this one thing really quick. And they fill up their basement with smoke. And now their optics are all buggered up because they burn stuff with soot all over the lens.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the number one no, I would say, particularly around this time of year.
Yeah. I was going to bring up the optics thing too, is like, you think you're saving yourself time, but you're going to start to see a diminished product, especially with like tumblers, dude. Oh my God. The amount of just stuff that is going to get up into that lens. And then you're like, why is this getting weird? Why is it cutting off the crisp edges? Like, what's going on? And it's just that your lens is gross.
Right. That's actually
like been through 2 world wars.
This is the next point on the list for running tired and rushing decisions is running machines dirty, optics, rails, mirrors. Take the time to clean your machine. If you're doing something like acrylic, you should be doing it like every job. You know what I mean? Especially on like a large format gantry CO2 laser kind of setup. That shit gets so icky so quickly. It just like clean your lens. If you're cutting, I don't even think I could make it through like a Johnson Plastics plus size flat stock piece without stopping the machine like halfway through and like giving the lens a quick wipe down because it just builds up. You've seen like the nozzle gets like stalagmites.
It looks like, exactly. And Jimmy and I used to get into this because he didn't believe that you could make acrylic signs and do cutting. Well, just the engraving. He's like, you can't have airflow. And I convinced him, you can. You just need to do it the right way. And that's where he had like his little setup that he designed. Because I told him about mine, and I was like, dude, mine, it comes through the nozzle. So if you don't have air that comes through your actual, where your lens is coming down through the nozzle, you can design it so that it's pushing it away, but you just run it at like 2 to 3 PSI, which is nothing. It's literally just like a puff of air, but it's enough to just stop that, or at least a large amount of it from coming back, like 90 to 95% of it.
Yeah, I just did the review for the Algo Laser Pixie, and they have that setup where the cooling fan mounted on top of the heatsink for the diode module blows the air directly past the lens, and it's not an air assist. right? We're not forcing air through like a nozzle. It's not that kind of setup, but just that little bit of air keeps it from having to be cleaned so much better than
So
something
often,
that
too.
doesn't have anything like that. And even that needs to be, I mean, those lenses actually are removable in that machine and they need to be cleaned. They even give you a spare in the box to swap it out if you need to. Now, granted, things like rails and mirrors don't need to be done all the time. You don't need to do that nearly as much. If you're planning ahead, that kind of stuff might be done in October, November, right? And that'll carry you through. You should not probably be doing that right now. I think that would, in fact, fall under the don't touch holidays rule. So maybe don't touch your mirrors right now. But the lens, definitely. I mean, constantly, regularly, all the time. If you're not cleaning your lens, like, stop listening right now and go clean your lens. You need to clean your lens.
I have a pretty good cadence on cleaning, but the funny thing is if your exhaust is set up poorly, your lenses and your mirrors are going to get dirty significantly faster because the soot that should be getting sucked out at a regular pace is spending too much time in your system, and it has time to settle and stick to stuff. So like I'm not preaching to the choir here, but I haven't had to clean my mirrors in months on my main gantry.
Gotta love that humble flex.
And I've gone as long as a full year without touching them or looking
That's
at them.
insane.
And they're
That's
still
a crazy
perfectly
thing.
fine.
That's a crazy thing to do.
A proper exhaust will
makes
save
me-
you
makes
a
me
ton
itch.
of maintenance.
Nobody has a proper exhaust.
Well, there's the problem.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a topic for another episode of the podcast. My last point, it's the last one today, and then we'll swing back around and do questions. And you guys will notice, have you been watching the shorts lately? You may have noticed that a lot of them are about tape tests on tumblers. And so many comments are like, why are you doing this? This is so dumb. Like, tape test your tumblers. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. And I get that, like, when you're running tired, you're rushing decisions, skipping rotary tests on, like, especially one-off items, you're just like, fuck it, right? Like, it'll be fine. Those things are expensive. Those things are expensive, and you're just like demolishing your profit margins when you mess one up and you have to go to Best Buy or Dick's or whatever and pick up a replacement. Like, just put some like masking tape on it. Beam it up laser tape, BeamItUpLaserTape.com, and run a quick test and be happy when it comes out right. One of them, I think it was the one that went up today, was like, this is why we do it. And I forgot to rotate the logo 90 degrees to roll through the rotary. So it was still upright when I sent the job over. Tape test caught it. So
I'm guilty of making that mistake a couple times.
Oh, dude, I make that mistake all the time. But it's just like, put some tape on the tumbler and just run it once really quick. Like, I can't imagine you are in a situation where you are so pressed for time that you do not have time to run a 6-minute tape test and like look for errors. Just do the tape test. Input, I don't know. Nothing.
No, I mean, there's really not a lot to add to it besides you just like, so that whole burn to learn thing that we've said for years, you're learning that costs you money. Like,
burn the tape and learn that you would have fucked up.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it on every cup.
But no, you don't have to do it on every cup.
If you're going to do a batch of like 10 cups, do it for the first one.
On the tumblers that we were doing for that little series of shorts that we published, there were like 4 of them that came out in a row where the cup was just not heavy enough on the O-rings to roll right. So it'd get like halfway through the rotation and then it would start skipping steps. And I caught every single one. I caught every single one of those on tape tests beforehand. And what I ended up doing was like just shoving a water bottle inside. You guys have done that, right? To add a little weight to it. Super easy fix. Would have been a $60, $80 mistake had I not done tape tests. I kind of like spot check them, like every 4 or 5 on like big runs. I'll like throw one in, maybe even less often than that, but still I throw one in to like spot check things and make sure that I'm not missing errors like skipped steps, because that kind of stuff will just, sneak by until the customer decides they have a problem with it. or notices it because they haven't looked at 500 of them back to back to back to back to back, and they're not as exhausted as you. So run a tape test.
That's pretty much it. Do the tape.
That's pretty much it. So that's it, guys. Just one more. Don't do just one more. Right? Like, you've done enough. Maybe draw the line. Set a cutoff date on your calendar to stop taking jobs. Don't overpromise your lead times. Things like that will keep you from making a lot of bad decisions that you would otherwise have avoided. Make sure that you're well rested when you're operating in your workshop and you're operating your lasers. Don't rush decisions. Take the time to do tests. Please, God, don't leave your laser unattended. And hopefully that'll help you avoid some of these major mistakes. I think that'll get you going in the right direction.
Yeah. Ready to run through some questions?
I just wanted to be contrarian. Sorry. Yeah, hit the questions, man. Friends don't let friends drink and laser. Geek of all trades. That is accurate.
I mean, yeah.
True dat.
All right. What's the questions we got?
Cuban says, do you guys use a powder with your UV to see the light better?
Dude, I almost did a short on this the other day because it does jack shit.
Here's what I use right here. It's a thin piece of paper. I put it onto the thing, and there you go.
I used baby powder the other day on one of those glass ornaments from Johnson Plastics Plus because I couldn't see shit. I could not see anything, and it did nothing. It literally doesn't reflect the ultraviolet light. It like absorbs it. It just looks like dark gray powder. You don't get that bright, like flashy reflection off of it like you do on the paper. And I don't know why. I'm not that good of a material scientist, but it just doesn't work. So in my experience, no, I have not done that. And in my time having experimented with it, it's been unsuccessful. Have you guys tried it?
No. So what I do is I either use a sticky note or a piece of like taped on paper if it's like a large surface, like a pint glass or something. But like, for example, I just did wine glasses, stemless wine glasses yesterday, the bottom of them. They wanted something on the bottom and they wanted something on the side, right? So for the bottom, I know that it was going to be 43 millimeters was the size of the space that I had. I know that that was like where I wanted my ring for my centering. So I made like a test circle, like a test line, and I made it 43 millimeter circle. And then what I did was I actually just hit it like the piece of paper. Like I made it to where that circle was accurately measured on the paper. I used the UV to zap a piece of paper out. And then I put that onto the glass where I wanted to go. And then basically once I got it lined up where it was, the circle was the same size, I know that that's where it's supposed to be. And so that's it. Take 2 seconds, a little bit of tape. Boom.
What we ended up doing, which doesn't really help for one-offs, but helped when we were shooting a whole episode about them, was I just did a sacrificial ornament. So like for the square ones, I just drew a square that was the right size. I just marked it over and over and over and over again until I got the square in the center, and then rigged it up in place on the bed there so that I knew every time I slid one of the squares in, we were going to be in the middle. And that worked pretty well.
Nice.
Let's keep it rolling.
We did get a reply. Bronson said he'll send some powder. It's beautiful, works amazing. You'll love it. I'll send a video also.
I don't know if you should put powder in the mail.
I'm not getting involved.
I'm talking about cocaine. I'm talking about ricin.
Bunny Watch says not only is Square good for web store, can also charge someone's card on the spot with tap on the iPhone. Yeah,
yep. It's great.
Totally true. See it a lot at farmers markets too. Super popular.
Oh yeah,
for that.
That's what we use as our point of sale in the shop. It's just like one of the mobile kind of like tablet
POS
style ones, but it works fine as a permanent POS. Yeah.
They also had another comment. One thing to watch out for this year, more as like a public service announcement, is a popular thing where people are taking AI faked images. They're taking product photos and then sending them through AI to create damaged photos,
bro.
And then requesting return. So they're suggesting that you have them send it back, and then a refund would be issued on receipt.
By the way, if you have it, so just to think about that in mind, if you have a website, one of the things that you should have on your website front and center is your return policies and refund policies. And that should be like one of the footer notes at there. And it should always be there, just so you know.
Yeah.
So, and that is something to add. Like he was saying, it's a good point.
Another thing,
extremely evil. It's super evil. What an evil thing to do. I would have never thought that up on my own.
Yep. Yeah. Another thing to consider too is if you don't have any kind of fraud card processing detection, talk to a web developer or your payment processor. Talk to PayPal.
Yeah, Stripe is really good about that.
Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Each of them has their own flavor or their own ability to implement, depending on the type of site that you're running, some type of add-on or implement fraud detection for that, so that if it's sensing that they're trying to process a transaction for a card that's out of one state, but they're processing it from another country, it'll flag it.
Sure.
So just another thing to consider. I'm going to say Al. What do you do about projects that require 6, 7, or 8 hours of continuous burn time for projects? Use the pause button.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
For the love of God, don't let it run overnight while you're sleeping. Don't walk away and have dinner and fall asleep on the recliner for 3 hours. Just use the pause button if you're not going to be within eyes reach of it, so you can't confirm there's not a problem.
And like there's other shit to do. Like there's artwork to do. You could be doing some social media management. You could be doing your web development kind of stuff, or working on your Google My Business profile, or cleaning up your shop. There's a lot you can fill your 6, 7, 8 hour day with, besides abandoning your machine
where you're close to the machine, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do gun slides for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time.
Sure.
What they do is they limit those jobs, particularly around this time of year, because even if they're spending 10 or 12 hours in the shop, they're only going to get one of those done a day, and they'll fill the other 3 or 4 hours with a different project or lots of projects that take way less time, so that they're segmenting and managing their time better.
If you're doing so many jobs that take 6, 7, or 8 hours at a time to complete, you can afford a new laser. Yeah. Or you're not charging.
Or it might be time to invest in it, knowing that you have that many coming up, that you need to go ahead and just move forward, right? Like, because maybe you don't have the money now, but that's why you can get a loan. That's why you can put it on a credit card.
Well, again, this scenario, you're already accepting jobs that take 6, 7, or 8 hours of continuous burn to run.
Yeah, or
you're not charging
for that
$60, $70 an hour for that. You're undercharging.
Well, I'm thinking of somebody who's using a diode in that situation, like where it's a hobby situation where it's like they're hitting like the max on that machine.
You're just reinforcing my point. If you are, sure, let's say you have like a Laser Master 3 and you're doing an 8 hour like massive photo, right? Mm-hmm. Like you could certainly charge enough for that one job to go buy like an Algo Pixie,
right?
Have as a backup machine that you can do smaller, like lower time runtime jobs on.
Yeah,
no problem, because all those costs scale down. Now instead of talking about $1,500, we're talking about like $120.
Right, and that's what happened with me when I started off with the 1620, which was like the smaller laser. I was running into the issue of needing a larger laser to do more cutting, because I was like, that's what I was doing at the time. And it was like, okay, time to just upgrade. I spent $3,000 on this one. It's already paid itself off. I'm going to re-up and then, drop 10 into it this time. And then that paid itself off faster. So, be daring, right?
Sure.
Yep. Comes down to business logistics.
Business.
Jack said he told AI to redraw bad art like that in reference to the artwork that you were struggling with.
Sure.
You should actually have it redraw it as broken and then send it back to them and be like, sorry, it's broken. This artwork sucks.
John says, for what it's worth, my price list shows $75 an hour for my time. Fixing art falls into that category.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do. In this case, I don't know if that would have helped Alex just because he already quoted time and all that out. But yeah.
And if you missed it, that's for having
a
a form ahead of time to check off, do you have this ready? And if not, when will you have it to me by? That matters.
I've talked to the guys about this in the past, and I'm kind of springing it on you two now. So sorry in advance. But we still have a good number of questions left over. And I was talking about bringing bonus episodes back to the Laser Source podcast. And we're already 5 over. Do you want to maybe tackle the rest of what we have here in chat in a bonus episode, short bonus episode for the LMA members?
Sure.
Let's do it.
I thought you were going to say no to be contrarian.
No, I wouldn't do
that. Hey, got him. All right, good. Well, then let's do that. That sounds good. I've been wanting to bring bonus episodes back for a long time. They were really popular when we did them, and Lord knows we could use the support right now. So if you want to hear us run through the rest of this, you can on the bonus episode, which we'll go record for you right now, and I'll leave a post for it on the LMA so you guys can follow up and give that a listen too. Our Castapod host for our podcast also has a way to add premium only episodes. I have to look into that, but that might be an option for the audio listeners that don't want to sign into the LMA to listen to a bonus episode of the podcast. So I'll take a look at that too. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and pull the emergency brake, hit the e-stop on this bad boy. And I just want to say massive thanks to everybody who came out live today. Thank you so much for joining us. I love seeing you guys show up every single week. I love hanging out with you. I love reading all of the comments in live chat. Let me know what you thought about the vertical stream thing. I don't know. We tried it. We came here. We did it. I gave it a shot. If you found it useful, if you watched this on your phone, let me know how that went. If you hated it, I guess you could
turn it up and down or side to side.
Gross. That's for your mom's nudie cam stream. If you want to check that out, go listen to the last episode. And a couple quick shout outs before we wrap up, guys. Etsy's Kyle shop is absolutely packed with infinite patterns. I saw somebody left a comment, Kyle, on your infinite pattern video on the channel, praising you for that and them wanting to know if they could just buy them. So I need to respond to that comment and let them know that the Etsy shop is there. But if you guys haven't been to it, Kyle's Etsy shop is filled with infinitely scalable patterns, which means you can mark the pattern the size of a dime on the side of a knife handle, or you could blow it up to be the size of a poster board, and it will be fine at any scale. So you can do, 20 patterns per inch, or you could do 0.2 patterns per inch. It doesn't matter. Any size because they're infinitely repeatable. They're very, very nice. Kyle's done really, really good work on it. So if you want to help support Kyle, make sure you go check out his Etsy shop. The link in the description to his Etsy shop is actually an affiliate link. So you get to support Laser Everything too while you're shopping from Kyle, which is cool. And I think there's an auto coupon. Is that right, Kyle? So
there 15%
is, off?
Yeah. If you click the link, it will auto apply a 15% off coupon code.
Sick. And Matt, he does stuff about what was the joke I made at the beginning of the show? Why would people want to contact you?
Because I know how to do it.
Oh, because you know how to do it, right? So if you want to learn how to do it, if you want to learn how to handle it,
where to put it,
with
people, do you want a team? Is this something you want to tackle by yourself? Do you want to be hands-on? Right?
Do you need consent?
Groups or solo?
Right. Yeah.
We're of course talking about
laser business. You can book Matt. He's got a link down in the description. It is elccreations.youcanbook.me, where you can log a little time with Matt, hop in there with him, and get started the right way. Matt's really well oriented and organized as a small business person. I think he's got a lot of valuable advice to give. So if you're looking to maybe
start thinking about turning that hobby into a business, and you might want a little guidance one way or the other, Matt's a really good person to talk to for that. So I'd encourage you to do that. If you haven't, even though we haven't seen them lately, make sure you buy some Beam It Up laser tape. You can get that over at BeamItUpLaserTape.com. Anthony, we miss you. I hope you come back on the show soon. Hasn't been the same without you, buddy. Go support Anthony. BeamItUpLaserTape.com. Go check out his YouTube channel, Beam It Up Laser Works, too, because he's working on some cool stuff over there. Final reminder. There will not be another one. The next time you hear my voice, we will be doing roast beef. Okay? If you want to do roast beef with us, get your submissions in now. The live show airs Tuesday, December 23rd. I'd like submissions in by the 21st. You can submit them on Discord in the roast beef channel, or you can submit them in the roast beef post in the update channel on the Laser Master Academy. That is, of course, the number one way to support the channel, masters.lasereverything.net. You'll get this bonus episode we're about to record. You're also going to get a bunch of exclusive live streams. And by a bunch, I mean hundreds of hours of exclusive live streams we've backlogged over there. If you haven't already checked it out, make sure to go do it. You get our entire catalog of laser settings pre-configured for a bunch of different lasers and wattages and lenses that make getting started super easy, and a whole bunch more. If you want to support the show, you can find out how over at masters.lasereverything.net. If that sounds like too much for you, we've got a Patreon, we've got a coffee. Links to all of that down in the description. I think that's all I've got. You guys got anything you want to toss in here before we close it out for the day?
That's it. Have a happy Christmas, man. If you don't see us next week, be safe.
Merry Christmas.
Laser
Smash
safety.
that like button.
Happy Chanukah. Have a quasi Kwanzaa.
And we should have finished before this.
No, we finish when I say we're done. We're done.
Pew pew.